Hello there everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. So I don't know where you guys are right now or what the weather is like where you are, but here in the UK and also in London, we've had quite a blustery start to spring recently. It's been really cold, really rainy and just really chilly in general. And I had just recently come back from visiting my family up in North Wales, where it is generally a few degrees colder. But as I returned back to London last week, I expected it to be just a little bit warmer than in Wales, and it turned out completely the opposite. It was really cold here, rain, heavy showers and cold blustery winds, and yeah, so that was interesting. And this past week I had also started back at work. I started teaching again. This past week I just felt like I wasn't feeling so great. I felt a kind of cold coming on and a cough and throat kind of situation happening. So I hadn't been feeling really great this past week. And so I thought that today I would try to craft a kind of tea blend for myself to hopefully help me with this situation. And I thought I would do it here along with you guys and also share with you the kind of herbs I want to use and why I will be using those herbs and their uses and their properties and things like that. And I know I made a video recently in a similar style where I made a fire cider recipe along with you, and I really enjoyed filming that video and just sitting down and talking to you, explaining the ingredients, talking about the properties of the herbs, and I found that really fun to film, and I know a lot of you guys also enjoyed it that way. So I thought I would do a very similar format and show you how I craft this herbal tea blend and just the herbs I will be using and everything that they are good for. All right, so let's start. So the very first herb that I'm going to be adding into my tea blend is going to be peppermint. And peppermint is just a really wonderful and lovely herb. It is incredibly calming and soothing, and actually the menthol in the peppermint has a really wonderful cooling effect. So that can really help to ease and kind of calm the irritation or inflammation that is happening in the throat and causing the pain. So peppermint can really help with that. And the other thing peppermint is really good at is actually soothing any kind of stomach upset or stomach issues or even feelings of nausea. And that can be really helpful because when you have a cold, you're ill, you're not feeling well, and especially for people, for example, who have maybe a buildup of mucus and things like that and post-nasal drip, and it's all just coming down downwards and just making us not feel very well. Peppermint can really help to just soothe and calm all of that. So it is really helpful, and I'm definitely going to be adding this one in. And also it tastes really amazing. I think it tastes really wonderful, and I think it's important to also add something that's going to make your tea blend taste really nice for you, and so that it's just more easy to drink. And so I love peppermint. I think it tastes really lovely, and so I'm starting with this one. So the next herb that I'm going to be adding into the blend is elderflower, and as you can see, this jar is almost empty. I've almost used it all up, but elderflower is a really wonderful herb and I think a very useful one to have on hand. It is really great for all kinds of cold and flu-like situations. Elderflower is anti-inflammatory, antiviral, and it is also a diaphoretic, which means basically that it helps you to sweat. So when you are just really ill, maybe having flu-like symptoms, maybe you're feverish, it really helps you to just sweat everything out. And a tea made from elderflower can also be really cooling and just feel really good when you are feeling hot and just quite unwell. So elderflower is really great for that. And the other thing that it's really good for is it really helps to tone and dry the mucous membranes, especially around the nose and sinus area. So anytime when people have a runny nose, whether it be due to allergies, seasonal allergies, things like hay fever, or just a buildup of mucus, it really helps to tighten and tone everything up, and really just helps with that situation as well. So really useful elderflower, and I'm going to add some of that in as well. And on that note, I also want to include some stinging nettles into this mix as well, because nettle is actually a really great antihistamine, and it can be really helpful for people with allergies, seasonal allergies, and really when you can just feel that kind of blocked feeling and that tightness around your sinuses, this can really help and can really give some relief in that situation. So nettles are really wonderful, and they are also just amazing for your whole body in general. They just revitalize and rejuvenate the body. They are full of vitamins and minerals and iron, and they are just really great. So I'm going to add some nettles into this mix as well. So next, I'm also going to be adding in some mullein. Now, mullein is just a really wonderful herb for your entire respiratory system, and it can really help to clear and unblock your airways, and also to help you breathe better. And so mullein is considered an expectorant herb, meaning that it has the ability to kind of break down any buildup and excess phlegm and mucus in the body, and just to expel that, to get it all out of your system. So whether that be more in your kind of sinus area or more lower down towards your chest and lungs area, mullein can really help to kind of just break down any kind of stagnation and build up there, and just get it all out. So it's really great for that. And mullein is also considered to be a demulcent herb, meaning it is really soothing and can really help to calm any irritated and inflamed tissue. So for example, in the throat. So that's really helpful as well. And because I am not entirely sure that what I have is just a kind of throaty issue, or if it's more of a chesty respiratory issue, I will add in some mullein just in case, because it's just really helpful. So I'll add a bit of that in as well. And finally, I will also be adding these two herbs into the mix as well. And these are roots, specifically marshmallow root and licorice root. Now, marshmallow root is once again one of those really soothing kind of herbs, and because of the wonderful mucilage that it offers, it really helps to kind of coat and soothe any irritated or inflamed tissue. So once again, really great for sore throats and coughs where there's that irritation happening. But it can also be actually very helpful with digestive issues or any kind of gut issues where there's also irritation happening down there, and it can really help to really soothe and calm that kind of situation as well. So marshmallow root is a really nice one. And licorice root is one that has been around for a very long time and been used for a very long time as well. It is antiviral, it is anti-inflammatory, and it is also an expectorant herb. So once again, helping to really break down any stagnation or buildup of mucus, and just getting all those things out of your system. And it is really helpful drunk as a tea, but it can also be used as a gargle. So gargling to help a sore throat, for example, as well, really helpful. But it can also be drunk as a tea. Oh, and I forgot to say that marshmallow root can actually be drunk as both a cold infusion, so with cold water, and both as a hot infusion as well. So you can have this one both ways, and it's really quite pleasant. And licorice root, really good as a warm tea. It has a kind of slight sweetness to it, and with other herbs together, it is really pleasant. Now, because these two are roots, so they are the harder parts, more tough parts of the plant, these two are going to be prepared differently. I am not going to actually mix them in with all the rest of these because these are aerial parts of the plant. So when we have, for example, peppermint, we are using the leaves and the stalks a little bit. Elderflower, that's the aerial part, the flower part of the plant. Nettle, again, we are using leaves, and mullein is also leaves that we're using. So these are all the kind of aerial, softer parts of the plant. So these are better prepared as an infusion or like a tea, where you would, put it into your cup with boiling water or in a strainer or in your kettle and just let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes, and then you can drink that. But when preparing roots, it is actually best to prepare them using a decoction, which is a slightly different method where you boil or simmer these roots for a longer period of time, so anything from 20 to 30 minutes sometimes, just to help allow all the medicinal qualities in the plant to have a better chance of coming out into the water. So because these parts are much tougher than the aerial parts, it takes longer, and so a decoction is a better way of allowing all those really beneficial qualities to be able to come out. So I will be preparing them differently, but at the very end I will just mix them all together in one cup and probably add a bit of honey and then drink it like that. But I will be preparing them differently. So now that we've talked about all the different herbs that I'm going to use, I will now start to prepare the mix. So I'm just going to prepare all the aerial parts in a bowl first, and then I will prepare the last two roots separately and show you the process of it all. So let's get going. So I'm starting off with some peppermint, and I'm going to do, I think, half a cup of each herb. I think that would be just fine. So that's peppermint. Now in goes the elderflower. I think I've just about enough. Okay. And if you can see, each herb I have labeled here with the common name and then also the scientific name of the herb. I like to do that. I think it's really helpful because then every time I take out the herbs, it always helps me to learn the name a lot better. So now we're going in with the nettle, half a cup as well. I don't know, I like to do just equal amounts of everything. I think it works perfectly fine that way. And then lastly, mullein. And for this one, I like to hold my breath a bit because sometimes the little hairs, there's little hairs on it, it can come out and go straight into your nose. So holding my breath. That's half a cup. That is looking really nice actually. I really like all the colors. So here we have our peppermint, our nettle, our mullein and our elderflower. That's really nice. So I'm going to mix those all together now. Oh, it smells really minty. It smells really lovely. So that's the first one. Now on to the licorice and marshmallow. I think I'm going to do more like a cup of licorice and marshmallow, just so I can fill my jar a little bit more. So yeah, I think just a little bit more of these, but I will use them more sparingly. So that's the marshmallow. And now for the licorice. Okay. And now just to get this into a jar as well, and we'll be almost ready. Perfect, that fits great. So now I have both my jars. It's time to make the tea. So I'm going to put this one on to boil because it's going to take a little bit longer, and I'm just going to simmer it for around 20-25 minutes, and I'm going to put the aerial parts in for a regular tea infusion, yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I have my tea here, it's now ready, and it actually tastes really, really nice. I really like it. I can really taste that peppermint, which is one of my favorite things. So I can really taste that, and I can definitely taste that sweetness of the licorice. And it's really pleasant. It's actually not too much, it's not overwhelming. And I think with the other herbs altogether, it's just really, really pleasant. And I can also taste that floral taste of the elderflower, and it's so soft and delicate. And yeah, I really like it. I think this combination has worked really, really nicely. So I am going to be sipping on this for the rest of the day, and hopefully it's going to really help my throat situation. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear any noise outside. I think there's roadworks outside my window, so I do apologize. But I really hope that you enjoyed this video today and crafting this tea blend with me, and hopefully maybe you learned something new today about some of these herbs and all of their wonderful and such interesting properties. And it's just so fascinating to know that there are so many incredible plants and all of their wonderful uses and how they can really benefit us. And I find it so fascinating. So I hope you enjoyed doing this little craft with me today. Yes, on that note, I of course want to say that make sure you always do your own research before you start using any herb for yourself. Make sure that you sit down and read about any herbs that you plan to use, or if you are unsure, make sure you do talk to a medical professional before you plan on using any kind of herbs, to make sure that there are no contraindications or anything that can affect you negatively in any way, especially if perhaps you are on any kind of medication, or if you have any allergies, or if you are pregnant. So do make sure, please, to always do your own research before you use any herb that you are unsure about or how it can affect you. These herbs that I'm using today, I know that they will not affect me negatively in any way, and there are no contraindications to me. So I am okay and fine to use them on myself, but please do make sure, just for yourself, to always double check before you use anything. And also, on that note, I actually wanted to mention a couple of books that I have been using to really help me learn about these herbs in a lot more depth. And these books I find are absolutely incredible. They have really helped me, and they are helping me currently on my journey of studying herbs, and I just think they're incredible. And they're written by some very well-known, well-noted herbalists in the herbal world, and so I wanted to recommend some of these books to you in case you are also maybe learning or interested. So I think these books are wonderful. So the first book I have is called Herbal Remedies Handbook. This is by Andrew Chevalier, and I think, mention one of his other books in my other video, the Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine. That was a really chunky, very big book, also written by Andrew Chevalier. But this is just a very kind of pocket-sized, very small, easy to use little handbook. It is fabulous. There are descriptions of each herb, and there are really wonderful illustrations, color illustrations of every plant, so it is really easy to identify, especially if you are going out foraging or just going outside somewhere. It's really useful, easy to take with you. I find this book absolutely incredible and easy to read. And then the other two books I have here are by David Hoffman. So David Hoffman is also very well noted herbalist. He has written many books already, and these are just two of his books. And so the first one is the Complete Herbs Source Book, A to Z Guide of Herbs to Cure Your Everyday Ailments. So this one goes through basically all the different kinds of herbs, their properties, things like that. And this is the New Holistic Herbal. So again, this one goes through different herbs and how to use them in various conditions that you may be having. And what I really like about David Hoffman is that he really goes very in depth in his books in a much more medical way. So he talks about how he really breaks down how each herb affects our body and how it is used in our body and what it does to our body, essentially on a pretty much molecular level, how they work in our bodies and how they help us. So his books are a little bit more on the medical side, but I find that really interesting, and it therefore goes much more in depth and explains how each herb is helpful and in what way. So these two books are really great. He has also a couple of other books that I still plan to get, but these are just two of them. So yes, I just wanted to recommend these books because I think they are really fabulous, incredibly helpful for anyone who is learning herbalism. And these three are very kind of straightforward, very easy to understand. I find them really useful. So I have learned a lot from these books, And I also have many other books that I could do another whole video on, but these are just some of the ones I've been using recently that have been very helpful to me. So I thought I would share them with you. But apart from that, I really hope that you enjoyed this video, that you found it useful, and if you did like it, please give it a like and subscribe if you're new here. And you can also let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this kind of format of me sitting down and just explaining things, talking about the herbs, and breaking down a recipe and how to do things. So let me know if you guys enjoy that, because I have really enjoyed filming this kind of format of video. So if you also like it and find it useful, please do let me know, and I would love to share more videos like this and just be talking to you a lot more in this way. And on that note, I really want to wish you a wonderful week, and I hope to see you in my next video very soon. Take care, guys.